Well, church, we've been in this series called God, Money, and Me. God, Money, and Me. Now, have you ever had one of those weeks where payday hits and you kind of like feel rich for 24 hours? Money goes into your bank account. Oh, man, I'm rich. And you're like, man, I'm making plans. We're going out for dinner tonight. I feel really rich. I think I'm even going to order the large fries. That's how rich I'm feeling right now. And then before you know it, a couple of bills later, trip to the supermarket, a tank full of gas, you check your bank account and you're broke. And like, where did all the money go? Right? And you ever feel like that? Well, to be honest, many of us live from payday to payday. That's how we live, payday to payday, never really getting ahead. We spend first, maybe save, and if we've got anything left, we'll give. That's pretty much how we roll pretty much every week. But what if we flipped the script? What if we had a plan not just for today, but for the future? What if instead of just getting by, we started building something? So today is our final part of our series, God, Money, and Me. And today we're talking about the biblical principle of saving and spending. Saving and spending. In church, you'll hear about giving all the time, but we don't often hear about the biblical principles of saving and spending. That's what we're looking at today. We're going to move from surviving payday. In fact, the title of today's message is From Payday to Legacy. From payday to legacy. Now, some of us, we grew up in homes where there wasn't enough, right? Money was tight, and you would have heard things like, we can't afford that, or money doesn't grow on trees. In fact, you might be saying those same words to your children right now. That's what you could be saying, or maybe you're saying that to your husband, we can't afford that, or he's saying that to you. And maybe for others, we were never taught how to handle money God's way. And we're still trying to figure out how this all works today. But here's the tension. See, because if we don't get this area right in our life, when it comes to our finances, then the cycle repeats. It just repeats. We work hard, we spend everything, and we leave nothing for the next generation. Nothing for the next generation. We get stuck, we stay stuck. But what if God had a better way? What if God had a better way? What if saving isn't just about putting money in a bank, but it's about breaking generational cycles, about building something bigger than ourselves? And that's what we're talking about today, the biblical principles of saving and spending. Saving and spending God's way. Saving and spending God's way. Because if we can get this right, it won't just change our financial world, but it will change the future for generations to come. Amen? So in this series, we've been talking about the 4 foundational ingredients for financial freedom, God's way. And in week 1, we looked at stewarding my financial authority, that all that I have comes from God. So how do I steward what God gives me? It's about trusting God with the first of my giving. The first thing I do before I do anything else, I'm going to trust God with it. And we talked about the biblical principle of letting God having lordship over everything, including my finances, because Jesus talks about there's a spirit out there called the spirit of mammon, wants control, wants it to be Lord over your life, wants money to be Lord over your life, for you to live for money. And Jesus comes along and says, it's not about that. And it's about, so we spoke about the tithe. The tithe is giving to God, trusting in God. It's not about the money, it's about trust. It's about trust. That's what it's about. It's about trust. Tithe sets the foundation. It breaks the spirit of mammon and invites God's covering over the rest. And then in the second week, we looked at sowing. It's seeding for the future. Sowing is my key to a harvest. And it's simple. No seed, no harvest. No seed, no harvest. You want a strong marriage? Well, start sowing into your spouse. Start sowing into your marriage. In this church, we run marriage courses. If you want a strong marriage, maybe sign up for the next round of our marriage courses. Start sowing today. Don't wait till you're at the edge of your relationship. Start sowing now before you get to an edge. Start sowing now. You don't like what's growing in your life? Well, change your seed. Change your seed. You are what you sow. You are what you sow. We spoke about that in week 2. It's about sowing into the needs around us and trusting God for the return. Trusting God for the return. So today we're looking at saving and spending God's way. I mean, some people said, well, I started with nothing, so my kids should too. I started with nothing, so my kids should too. But that's not actually biblical. That's not biblical because God is a generational God. He's a generational God. He builds one generation on the shoulders of another. That's our God. That's our God. Oh, I just shared Wi-Fi with someone in this room. Here we go. Share this now. Okay. Yeah. In fact, whoever you are, you've just got the staff Elam Wi-Fi code. There you go. I'm generous today. Okay, where were we? Okay, our God is a generational God. He builds one generation on the shoulder of another. See, if we shift our mindsets and to think generationally, this is what we got to do. We've got to shift our mindset to think generationally. We start to see breakthrough in a single generation. Breakthrough in a single generation. Payday is temporary, but a legacy lasts forever. Payday is temporary, but a legacy lasts forever. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22 says this. A good man, any good men in this room? A good person, a good person leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Who does he leave an inheritance to? He leaves an inheritance to his grandchildren. Not just to his children, but to his grandchildren. It means that I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about them. I'm thinking generationally. See, I'm making sure that my children's children have an echo of my life. They're not just going to be scraping by. I'm making sure that my children's children has an echo of my life. And if we do it God's way, we're not just unlocking our future, but we are unlocking our children's future. Because society tells us, live for the here and now. Live for me. Live for you. Live for your truth. It's about you. Don't worry about anything else. Just worry about you. Live your truth. That's not God's way. God's way is generational. We have a legacy to leave. See, you can live for the weekend or you can build for the generations. You can live for the weekend. Man, the weekend's coming, can't wait. Putting my nice shoes on, whatever, to get my moves out. You can either live for the weekend or you can build for the generations. So let me ask you something. What's your investment plan when it comes to saving? When it comes to saving, what is your investment plan? Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not going to give you some financial advice. I'm the worst person to do that. Don't come to me. I can give you biblical advice. I'm going to give you some biblical views on finances. But if you want financial advice, why don't you sign up for our CAP course, Christians Against Poverty? It's a budgeting system, and it's what we offer here in church. So just scan the QR code and get connected today. Get connected today. So what's your investment plan? Well, let's look at Mark chapter 12, verse 41. Now, Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put, and he watched the crowd putting their money. Now, in this church, this is what we do too. We have a black box just there. You can put your offering in there. And so after the service, I'm going to sit and I'm going to watch. No, just kidding. I'm not doing that. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts. Look at me, look at me, look at me. But a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth. They gave out of extra. Didn't bother them. It was just extra. But she, out of her poverty, put everything, all she had to live on. And her final copper coin, she just trusted God with it, that God will release the rest. And there's a sermon in that, but I'm not going that way. What I really want to focus on are the 2 small copper coins that she put in. Now today, that's estimated to be about 80 cents. 80 cents. Now think about this. If this poor widow is 80 cents, if she was to place that in a bank at about 4% interest, and she left it in the bank for about 1,987 years, she's a Highlander. It's a movie reference, sorry. left it in the bank. It's a good bank, right? Been around for ages. So she put 80 cents in the bank at 4% interest for about 1,987 years. Do you know how much it'll be worth today? It will be worth $5.6 decillion. $5.6 decillion. That number is so big, we've never even heard of it. Well, I certainly haven't heard of it. Decillion. Now, that's enough to pay off the world's debt 36.8 quintillion times. Even quintillion times is a big number, right? 80 cents invested right over generations. Over generations. See, it's not about how much you have, it's about what you do with it. It's about what you do with it. You need to understand something. You don't have to be wealthy to leave a legacy. You just have to be wise. The biblical way. You don't have to be wealthy to leave a legacy. You just have to be wise. See, even Jesus, when he shared this parable about the talents, and he gave one person 1 talent, another 2, and so on, another 5. And after that, and he's telling this parable, and then they came back to the master, and they pretty much, the guy who had 5 doubled it, and so forth, 3. But the person that was given 1, he didn't double at all. He returned the 1 talent that the master gave him. And the master was angry with him. This is what the master said. He said, you could have at least put it in a bank. Because if you put it in a bank, it would have got interest. Right? It's talking about what you do with it. It's about being wise. It's not about being, to be wealthy doesn't mean about leaving a legacy. It's about just to be wise. Now, here in New Zealand, we have KiwiSaver. KiwiSaver. If you put in 3%, your employer, they have the option to match that 3%. If you got a good employer, they'll match it. And others will be close enough to it, right? And straight away, that's an instant boost to your saving. KiwiSaver, right? And here's where it gets real. One of the smartest ways to use your KiwiSaver is not just for retirement, but to put it into your first home. To put in your first, and here's why. Let me tell you why. If you haven't done this already, let me tell you why that's a good thing to do. Because when you invest into a house, you're building net worth. That's what you're doing. You're not just paying rent, you're building net worth. That's what you're doing. See, that home becomes part of your legacy. It's not something to live in, it becomes something to pass down. That's what your home is. That's what it is. When you own your own home, when you get onto that track, you're paying a mortgage, whichever, it's not a home for you to live, it's not something for you to live in, it's something to pass down. See, someone once told me, I've heard this, they said this, they said, don't bother buying a house. It's better to rent, and they gave all the reason why. But here's the thing, they were only thinking about themselves. If you decide, I'm not going to do a house, I'm just going to rent, all you're thinking about is you. You're not thinking about generations. You're thinking about you. You're not, what you're doing is not only are you locking yourself out of ownership, but you're blocking your children's children from stepping into something greater. Because all you're thinking about you, but not the next generation. Proverbs 12:22, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. These are biblical principles. It's about not thinking about yourself, it's thinking about the next generation. God is a generational God who builds one generation on the shoulder of the next. So that's saving. If you want to learn more about that, there's lots smarter people who can tell you about saving, right? I'm just sharing biblical principles about being wise. Now let's talk about your spending. I know what some of you are thinking. You don't have to tell me about spending. I'm an expert at spending my money, right? Who's an expert at spending your money? No problems at all. And in fact, that's actually the problem. That's the problem, right? Because, we live in a society where it's do it now, buy it before it's too late. 6% interest free. Oh, 12% interest free. Oh, there's a Black Friday sale coming up. Oh my goodness, it's going to be good. It's going to be amazing. But this is what wisdom says. Wisdom says, live within your means. Live within your means. Now, I want to share with you a Bible verse. Before we get into the Bible verse, it's when you read the Bible and you see your name appear in the Bible, you're like, oh, my name was prophesied. It's in this book. All right? Now, I want to read you, I saw my name in the book, and I want to share what it talks about my name. So here we go. Proverbs 6:6 says this, go to the ant. You sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. Oh my gosh, that's prophecy. Now, okay, not talking about me. It's talking about the insect, the ant. Okay, let's get serious. Okay, go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. See, wisdom is not a feeling. It's a decision point. It's a decision point. Like I shared this before. Like knowledge is to know that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is to know not to put the tomato in your fruit salad, right? Unless you like tomatoes in your fruit salad. Well, each to their own. Up to you. See, wisdom is not a feeling. It's a decision point. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provision in summer and gathers its food at harvest. What's it talking about? It's about leading yourself. We have to lead ourselves. We have to take responsibility with every action. We have to take responsibility with our spending. Before you can lead others, you've got to lead yourself. Before you can lead to the next generation, we've got to begin with ourselves. Lead ourselves. See, how many of us are living beyond our means? You know, we need to stop buying things with money that we don't even have. We need to start there. Stop living beyond your means. Live within your means so that you can one day live beyond. Live within your means so you can one day live beyond. It's leaving a legacy. I love this quote. Do you tell me which one are you? Rich people stay rich by living like they're broke. Broke people stay broke by living like they're rich. I was like, oh my goodness, here we go. The Lord's speaking to me. Here we go. Rich people stay rich by living like they're broke. Broke people stay broke by living like they're rich. And right now people are like nudging your partner. I'm not saying which one which. That's you. Anyway, it's time to shift. See, the enemy has taught the church just to live for the now. Live for the now, but just consume it all. Just live payday to payday. Don't worry about the next generation. It's about the now. But not us. Not you in this room. We're going to honor God with the first of what we have. I'm going to trust God. I'm giving God my 2 copper coins. I'm going to trust God with what we have. I'm going to sow for a harvest. I'm going to sow for a breakthrough. We're going to save for the generation, and then we're going to spend wisely. We are going to spend wisely because we've been called not to live like everybody else. We've been called to live godly principles. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 5 says this: the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. If you fail to plan, what's the next quote? You plan to fail. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Do you have a budget? Do you have a budget? If you don't have a budget, sign up to CAP money course and get a budget sorted, honestly. And begin to live Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5. Begin to outwork that in your life. The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. See, a legacy isn't left by chance. It's built by choice. You choose. We don't leave a legacy by chance. It's built by choice. So what does this mean for us, this whole series, God, Money, and Me? What does this all mean for us? Have you ever noticed that we always find money when we want it? Have you noticed that? We always find money when we want it. I just can't afford to save. And then I go, let's stop off at KFC on the way home. Yeah, right? I can't afford to save, but man, why is your recycle bin so full? It's all the Uber Eats. That's actually my children, actually. Hey, let me tell you something. Sorry, no, let me tell you something. I'm just going to reveal something about my household. I do a lot of cooking in our family because I love cooking. It's my happy place. When I go away, I'm worried about my wife, make sure she's okay. And I ring up and I go, hey, what'd you guys have for dinner? And she goes, the kids, they've been buying dinner every night. And I was going, really? And they've been cooking. And I was going, really? Because when I'm home, they never buy dinner. And they never cook. When I'm gone, they buy dinner and they cook. When I'm there, they sit there, wait for me to cook for them. I was going, anyway, just putting it out there. Share the love. All I'm trying to say, share the love. That's all I'm going to say. Share the love. Anyway, the truth is, Money isn't just about math, it's a mindset. It's a mindset. See, if we don't change our mindset, then we're going to continue to make the same financial mistakes year after year after year. We need to shift our thinking. It's a mindset. And that's why God's plan for money is different. It's different. It's actually about giving away. When you look at his plan, it's about giving away. It's about the future generations. It's not just about spending. It's about stewarding. Everything we have comes from God, and it's to steward what God gives us through biblical principles. And the principle I want to share with you is 10, 10, 10, 70. That's just the principle. That's all it is. 10, 10, 10, 70. And it's based upon this principle. And the first 10% goes back to God. I'm going to trust God with the first 10%. We call that the tithe. It's not about money, it's about trust. I'm going to trust you first. Before I do anything else, I'm going to trust God with it. I'm getting mammon's taking its hand off it. Money's not my rule. I'm trusting God. The next 10%, I'm putting it into another account, and it's for sowing. I'm sowing for a harvest, whatever that is. Whatever it is for you. Each person here is different. The next 10%, it's saving. It's saving. It's because it's about financial freedom. It's not just about today. It's about setting up the next generation. And then we live on the 70%. We live on the 70%. It's not on what we wish we had, not living on something or buying things with money that I don't have. It's living on what I actually have. That's what the 70% is. And I know what some of you guys are thinking. Well, Pastor, that sounds really nice, but I can't afford to live like that. Well, okay, just start somewhere. Maybe for you, maybe you can't do 10, 10, 10, 10, 70. Maybe why don't you try 10, 2, 2, 8, 6. 10, 2, 2, 8, 6. Why just 10 for that? Because trust God. Release God. Just trust God. Take him at his word. Just trust him. And then maybe 2% into a sowing account or 2% savings, and then live on the 86. And then the following year, maybe 10, 5, 5, 80. The point is, start somewhere. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Start somewhere. Begin to, and just try it. Begin to live these biblical principles in your life, and you just watch God move like never before. Because here's the thing, if we don't steward, we struggle. If we don't save, we stay stuck. If we don't seed, we miss the harvest. And when we don't control our spending, we stay broke. We stay broke. Stewarding is financial authority. Sowing is the key to the harvest. Saving is your generational investment plan. Spending with wisdom is financial freedom. See, it's not about making you rich. I know this personally. It's not about making you rich. It's about making you wise. It's not about making you rich. It's about making you wise. So the question is, are you going to keep living the world's way, or are you ready to do it God's way? Here's the thing. Do something today that your children's children will thank you for. Do something today, not that your children will thank you for, but your children's children will thank you for. Your grandchildren. Do something today that your grandchildren are going to thank you for. See, imagine having an account already prepared that you've been sowing into. You've just been putting 10% in there. I don't know sure what it is. It's there and it's just growing. It's just growing. Then all of a sudden you hear a need and God nudges you. He prompts you. You already set up something to release someone else. It's not for you. It's to release someone else. You're sowing into something else, and you already got money to give. No stress, no scrambling, just pure obedience. Imagine having that, something set up just to bless whatever it is that's going on. I just want to sow into this. I want to bless this person. I want to bless this family. It's not about you. It's about reaching beyond. This one I'm talking about, God's finances, is totally different. It's about releasing and blessing others around you. Maybe you're in debt right now. Well, your saving starts with paying off your debt. That's where it starts. It starts with paying off your debt. And then it becomes a deposit for a home. That's what it looks like. Can you see it? For grandparents, telling your grandkids, you don't have to save for a house. We've already prepared one for you. So I'm not doing this for my children. I'm doing it for my children's children. Why aren't I doing it for my children? Because I'm hoping they're going to do the same for their children's children. Can you see the generational thing? We're setting generations free. We're setting generations free. And here's the thing, and here in church, this is what we do. If you're from South Africa, this is quite foreign to you. I found this out. And if you're part of church, if you tithe, the government gives you a third of that back to you. Okay. And I was talking to our good South African friends, and they're telling us, well, we don't have that in South Africa. And I was going, well, this is amazing. It's not the church. Church isn't giving you back money. The government is. Isn't it amazing that God has used the government to bless you when you tithe? Now, if you get this rebate back, guess what you can do with it? Put it on your debt. You're giving it away, and God's giving you a way to pay your debt. Or maybe you're like, you know what, I want to sow. We've got this Vision Sunday. I want to sow into. Well, part of that, maybe I'm going to make a pledge that part of that's going to go towards this. This is what you can do. If you haven't got a giving number, go get one. I encourage you, get one. And God's giving you ways to give you different pathways forward. Maybe you're here and you just feel like it's too late for you. You're like, man, it's too late. I can't set up the next generation. If that's you here, please do not feel guilty. I'm not here to make you feel guilty, man. I should have done this. Why didn't I do this? Because here's the thing. We only know what we know. We only know what we know. You know, for you, maybe this is the best thing you can do. This is the best thing you can sow into your children's children. You can be there for your grandkids. You can love your grandkids like never before. You can talk to your grandchildren about Jesus, the love of God, about forgiveness. That's the greatest thing you can give your grandkids right now. Sow into them. Be a blessing. Maybe that's what God is calling you to do in this season right now. Maybe you can't do that, but this is what you can do. It's the 80 cents, the 2 copper coins. This is what God's giving. This is what are you investing in right now. Maybe you're here this morning and for you, when it comes to sowing, you've got aged parents who, because we know what we know, maybe for you, it's to support your aged parents, to be in that place to sow into for this season. Because we know our parents are not going to be around forever. Maybe for this season, God's calling you to sow into them, love them. Man, I'm always telling my mum, move in with us. Because I just want to love on her. You know, here's the thing. Your parents have invested in you. You might say, well, my parents haven't invested anything in me. Let me tell you something. The fact that you're breathing is they invested somehow. There was an investment and you were born. There you go. There's an investment. God is calling you to sow in this season, sow into your aged parents. You know, the truth is, I know pastors in our Elam movement, this movement in New Zealand, Aotearoa, who are faithful. They're generous people. The most generous people I know are some of these pastors who poured out their lives for others, gave sacrificially and trusted God for provision. But when retirement came, they had nothing because they gave it all away. They gave it all away, not because they lacked faith, but because they never knew about the godly principle of saving. We only know what we know. They sowed, they gave, but they never built for the future. You know what I love about our movement, Elam movement, is that as a movement, we have a hardship plan for those pastors. And we have a few of them, and as a movement, we support those pastors. I love that about our movement. We make sure we look after people. We're sowing back into them. They've sowed into us. We're going to sow into them for this season of life. But here's the thing. I don't want that for my story. I don't want to reach the end of my race having given everything away, only to leave my family struggling to start theirs. See, I want to live in such a way that when I retire, I can look back and see my children walking in freedom. Free from financial chains, free to step into God's calling without the weight of debt holding them back. So here's the thing. Do something today. Do something today that your children's children will thank you for. Begin today. Begin today. Come on, church, let us pray.